Hello, 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 my friends, and to all our followers, and to all our viewers. Let me say welcome to another session on John's Sports Corner. And do we have some information and some news for you? But before we get there, let me say thank you so much for your support. Thank you for all the sharing. So many persons have told us, Trevor, we share it, we share it, we share it. And again, I'm going to update you on our platform, the SosoBone Media Network, that in 18 months, we have in excess of 72,000 subscribers, which is averaging more than 1,000 subscribers per week. And we have in excess of 51 million views, averaging about 3 million views per month across the platform. And that is only on YouTube. We're not talking about LinkedIn. We're not talking about Facebook. We're not talking about SosoBone. We're only talking about Soso Fat TV. And you know something? We owe it all to you and to our hosts on the various programs, because they bring nothing but quality products to the platform. And that's all I'm hearing, that we have such a lineup of products. John Sports Corner and Legacy Series and Diaspora Impact. People just want to know where we were the last 10 years. But I can only say we're here now. So let me kick you over to none other than inductee into the Cricket Hall of Fame, the Honorable John Melbourne. Over to you, John.
Thank you so much, Trevor, and a very good afternoon as we come out of hibernation. Welcome, family, and thank you for joining and listening to John Sports Corner here on the SosoBone Media Network, the global Caribbean media capital. And before my special guests, historian, statistician, and honorary secretary of the Cricket Hall of Fame, Dale Brown, joins us, just let me remind you that you can go to Winner's Circle Radio Store in the SosoBone shop and go gift shopping. There are T-shirts, mugs, backpacks, tote bags, sorrel, and of course the great Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee.
Yes.
Also, new in the shop are T-shirts with the John Sports Corner and Viacom Diaz logos. And by the way, depending on what you select, the items all come with the respective logos. Dale, welcome to John Sports Corner once more.
Thank you, John, and greetings to Sir Professor. And I'm very happy to be here, John, and ready to go.
Family, this is a champs chat. And first, let me congratulate Jamaica College and Edwin Allen High School on winning Champs 2026. Of course, you know, Michael Dyke, no stranger to winning champs. But Dwayne Johnson was only in his second year as Jamaica College coach. And after last year, Coach Johnson brought aboard world champion gold medalist Bert Cameron and Corey Bennett, who won girls champs with Hyder last year and were runners-up to Kingston College with Calabar. Dale, how instrumental do you think these coaches were in moving Jamaica College from third in 2025 to championship in 2026?
Well, John, first and foremost, we congratulate Jamaica College. And to improve your performance by a whopping 138 points, moving from 207 to 345, is nothing short of phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to say that the addition of the coaches is but very important, but it's just part of that mixture. It's part of that recipe. And it is the desire, the combined desire of not really David, but of a few people to defeat Kingston College that perhaps inspired many of those moves.
Including myself, including myself.
um, and before we look at performances, high schools across Jamaica are recruiting athletes outside of Jamaica now. And prior to this year, when a youngster moved from one high school to another, if he or she wasn't a sixth former, they had to sit out a year. And correct me if I'm wrong, Dale, but prior to this year, this rule was or did not apply to foreign recruits. But the rule that applies to local athletes now also applies to the foreign athlete. Your take on this?
Well, yes, it applies to them now. But John, listen, when you look at champs, and this year in particular, let's just look at the boys' side because I think it's more prevalent there. Wherein when you 38 schools, John, scored at least 1 point. 38 schools. If you take the top three schools, Kingston College, Jamaica College, and Calabar, and you total their points, add them up, you get the total. You're going to get just short of 800 points. It takes up from number 4 to number 35, barring the last 3 schools, to total and match the top 3 schools.
Oh.
That is totally top heavy. Mm-hmm. And for me, whatever anybody wants to say, I believe that that may not be the healthiest thing, as much as we really celebrate our athletes. But for competition, it should not, it cannot be the healthiest thing that there is out there.
There are those who feel ISA should bar recruitment of foreign athletes. Your thoughts on that, deal?
I would say restrict it severely. Because you take, for example, the boys' 5,000 meters. And I will say it did not make me feel good to see 3 international athletes finishing 1, 2, 3, and then the Jamaicans are also ran. I do not see how it is improving our distance program. And I think that when you go out of your way to use the high school system, much the same way that they use the collegiate system over here to recruit, to go out and recruit athletes, I do not think that it really has a very, it should happen at the high school level. I do not think so.
But you don't think youngsters would aspire to beating these foreign athletes now at some point in the long distance races?
Yes, of course, but when you go to get those athletes and we see where they have lost races here or there, but for the most part, they are way out of class. They're way, way out of class. You look at the class 3 gentlemen for Kingston College, way out of class. You know, and I just think that there is a problem with that for me, because we in Jamaica have proven that we can use our homegrown natural talent, especially in the sprints, and turn them into world beaters.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we put out that same effort into producing distance runners? As long ago as 1952, we had the Olympic silver medalist in the 800 meters. We had world rank 1500-meter runners like Byron Dice, the 800 meters, Arthur Wint. Why can't we keep producing people like that? We had George Carr at 800 meters.
That's
Now
right.
there has been a resurgence of sorts in the last couple of years with Navasky Anderson and them. But look the gap in between. Is it that we are not focusing on the event? What is it that we are not doing?
Well, I know you. I think you know that the who is it? The Kenya's is it the president of the Olympic Association was at Champs this year, and I was listening to an interview with him, and apparently there's going to be some kind of an exchange now. They're going to be sending coaches or providing coaches to teach long distance or coach long distance running in Jamaica.
Yes, I heard that. And you can't say anything about it, but except positive. And I think I'm not going to be distracted by that as long as an exchange between coaches and it's not athletes coming along with the coaches to represent certain schools.
I remember when Kingston College brought that first Kenyan, deal, there was a great uproar about having an African coming to run a high school. But now there's more than one high school who have Africans running for them.
Yes, yes,
Let's talk champs. And Neil, I think looking at champs this year, and I guess every year, and I said to myself, boy, this talent pool is enormous.
Mm.
And I am not just talking about those who win or get medals. It's those who do not win medals, but I see something there that with good coaching and development, they probably will go on to represent Jamaica at the senior level.
Well,
Your take
well,
on the talent that is there.
well, just the fact is that the strength of every team depends on the depth of the bench.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, not so much your starting lineup sometime, but how deep is your bench?
Hmm. And
yes,
as Jamaica College showed us over the last week, several days, how deep their bench is.
yes. But before I even go to focus on the athlete themselves, we have to remember that it's the coaches who produce those athletes. And where do these coaches come from? Look no further than GC Foster College. They
Hmm.
are churning out high quality, world class coaches. And sometimes I think they get lost in the background simply because they don't coach one of those championship teams. So Bert Cameron gets notoriety because he has switched over and gone to help out at Jamaica College. And quite rightly so. Mr. Corey Bennett didn't need any more notoriety to go over to Jamaica College because he already had success with Heidel and is well respected and went over to Calabar and failed to put them over the hump. And so they didn't renew his contract. But what gives me more pleasure about these coaches, John, is that when I look at quite arguably the most outstanding performer of the meet, Shania Douglas out of Holland, yes, Holland High School, which up to last year didn't have a track program, went over there, and her coach is not one of the Kingston based coaches or anything, is a regular man from Western Jamaica. It is to show the wide variety and the base of the coach. Can you imagine if he got 3, 4 more um, good athletes, what he would do with them. You look at the coaches over at Herbert Morrison Comprehensive, didn't do well this year, but did very well in the past. You look at William Knibb. William Knibb, who is the coach of William Knibb? You go and ask the average person, they don't know. But look at Sanjay Seymour. Look at Jabari Mattison. And let's go over to Fogar Road. Who is
just about to mention Fogar Road. Yeah.
Who is coaching their quarter milers? So these coaches that I mentioned for these schools, they need, and others too, they need a special shout out and a special mark of respect.
Yes.
And that's very true. That's very true, Dale, because, I mean, even Denby produced a couple of champs winners too.
Champs and Carifta Games winner. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And we have to give kudos to these. Who is coaching these people?
I thought Kingston College lost this year from day 2. What, in your opinion, moved Jamaica College from 3rd to championship?
Well, you mentioned one part of the puzzle, which was the coaching. And the other thing, was a phenomenal and really phenomenal movement across classes. And it is, I don't even know if phenomenal is enough of a word to speak about what Jamaica College did. They increased their point production because champs is all about points. In class 1, they added 18 points at a 22.5% clip. In class 2, they added 46 points.
Ooh.
And in class 3, they added 58 points.
Oh, man.
That is a whopping 152% over what they produced in 2025. So you get an increase in class 2, which you might say, maybe it's a class 3 boys moved up and did all of this. But where did this current crop of class 3 athletes come from? So when I look at their class 3 producing 96 points, and KC didn't do too shabbily themselves, they did 76, but it is phenomenal that they could make such an improvement in the space of 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
But on that condition, if I might observe, we're talking about dynasty now.
Yes. And yes, absolutely, yes. Because if your class 3 is that good and your class 2 is that good, now you're looking good for your class 1.
Yes.
All you have to do is maintain, yes.
And then refill the pot with more class 3 next year.
Of course, because believe you me, they have a reserve. They have another squad there waiting to come in.
Yes.
Let's look at some of the outstanding performances, Dale, and I guess I have to start with Jamaica College's Joseph Salmon throwing the discus 67.55 meters, which is actually a world junior lead now.
Yes, and I'm happy, John, to see you start with a field event.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, that was absolutely a smashing record, and it's right at the top of the world for his age group. And they have always had a good program with the throws, but you have to give them kudos, and you have to give the coach kudos, and last but not least, the athlete himself. Yes, so I congratulate them wholeheartedly.
I tell you, you talk about starting with field events, Dale. Now, javelin and pole vault are not events we Jamaicans have mastered so far. But Dominica's Addison James became the first high school athlete in Jamaica to throw the javelin over 70 meters.
Ooh.
Yes, and again, congrats to him. You know, we have extended our international base to include, and we have done it for quite a while, a decade or more now, on a consistent basis, getting other
Mm-hmm.
Caribbean islands involved. But again, back in the day, when you had the boarding schools were available, the richer persons would send their child from the Bahamas or from Bermuda to Jamaica, not for athletics or anything, but just to get a good education. Now we have opened up the doors to the Caribbean, CARICOM countries, and they are going to benefit from it. However, the javelin, I would love to see us in Jamaica pay more attention, not to get a ready made athlete, but to create one for ourselves. And it can be done. And if you'll permit me to say this, even at we have had the javelin at champs ever since its inception in
Mm-hmm.
1910. And if you look at it incrementally, we have not made much progress in that event. So much so that last year, our Carifta trials winner at the under 17 level was not selected to go to Carifta Games. And that is last year, 2025, because maybe they didn't have any space to take that athlete. But how about just giving him the experience? Because again, he has come back and won the under 17 javelin, and I would like to see them encourage the event in Jamaica, and so that we can produce our champions like the Grenadiers and Trinidad and Tobago that produce world and Olympic champions in the event. And there's no reason that why we in Jamaica cannot do that also. But
Mm-hmm.
congrats to the young man.
And one,
Yeah, Addison James.
and one of the questions I would ask is how many of our kids have access to a javelin, brother? Have access to a javelin? Because up in the country when I was growing up, I would have loved to have a javelin to help pick some breadfruit.
Well, Trevor, just like how we used to take a piece of wood and shape out a bat, you know. You can cut a branch off a tree and shape out a javelin and practice with that.
Yeah. So
Innovation.
yeah, to answer that question though, about 4 years ago
Mhm.
at Cornwall College, it was noticed that no one is throwing the javelin,
Uh-huh.
and we invested in three javelins.
Uh-huh.
And within 4 years, we produced the character trials champion.
Okay. Access.
Access and just a little determination
Yes.
without much coaching.
Yes.
And I hope the J3 is and it's a the J3 is follow through on what I see as a positive development when they had the third place finisher from the last World Championships. His name escapes me for the moment. Come down to Jamaica to conduct a clinic at GC Foster, focusing on the javelin.
Uh-huh.
So I'm hoping and praying that they are really intent on focusing on
Development.
developing the
Mm,
javelin and getting good throws, because javelin and throwing that cricket ball is the same arm action and it's the
Yes.
same muscle
Mo-
that is engaged in it. So if you have a fast bowler who can throw it in over the wicket from deep in long leg boundary or wherever,
Yes.
try him out in the javelin.
Yes. Yes. Muscle memory.
Shania Douglas, I have to ask you this question, dear. Why in, I I don't know if it's in the devil's name, that the J3s would have named her to run a leg of a 4x4 relay with champs 2 days away from the Indoor World Championships?
I think either the team was generated by AI or something of along that nature, or somebody had a brain freeze. I think it was just an error. Whoever did it and whatever did it could not have been serious.
Might have been a brain freeze, deal. No, we talk about Shania. She didn't break the 100 class one record, but the 10.98 she ran in the final made her a member of the junior, what I call sub 11 club that hosts Alana Reid, Tina Clayton, and Brianna Williams.
Okay.
Great company to be in.
Well, at the junior level, yes, absolutely. But of those three names that you call, only one of them has transferred that talent to the senior ranks.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hope and pray that young Miss Douglas will also follow in Tina Clayton's footsteps.
Yeah.
When you say that deal, and I look at Brianna Williams, I know she was being coached by Atto Bolding at early, and then she switched coaches, but I understand she's gone back to Atto. But, Dale, I have seen her on social media, and I said to myself, it seems as if she is more interested in promoting herself than focusing on her athletic development. I hope I'm not right.
Well, I would hope so too, John. I think that unfortunately she basically hit a plateau 7 years ago, 8 years ago. She had a little hiccup along the way after the Jamaica trials in 2019. And I don't think she has recovered from that until now. You know, I won't go much farther into just saying that. And we'll be watching that space very carefully. But while she was away, many persons were there stepping on the accelerator and they have surpassed her. And it's not one or two, it's many.
And you think Alana made an error in coming to the US instead of staying at home with one of our coaches, Dale?
I would have to say, let's say she didn't make a mistake. It's where she went that is definitely a mistake. Coming to the US is one thing, but going to that camp with Richardson and Jefferson and all of these people, I don't believe in the CIA, but I don't think that the real effort and interest would be there to put her to let her beat them. And I will say that straight, plain and straight. I think she went to the wrong camp.
Well, I think she made a definite mistake because there was no yellow yam there, okay? No yellow yam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if you saw the class 1 200 heats deal where 3 athletes breached the 0.1 false start rule, but only one was disqualified. And I don't actually remember the name of the athlete who was disqualified. But the two that came after him, one got a yellow card, and the Kingston College athlete got a green card. And I have to wonder if all three breached the 0.1 false start rule, why was only one disqualified? I don't know if you saw that incident.
Yes, I did. And to be fair, a Kingston College athlete got disqualified, was the first one that got disqualified.
Yes.
But when it came time for that second Kingston College athlete to get disqualified, no way. That did not happen. And once they did that, then the floodgates had to be open afterwards. All you ask for is consistency in interpreting the rule. And I think that 0.98, 0.97, for crying out loud, you have to, there is some discretion that you can use there. I believe.
Well, from my point of view, It was only the camera that saw the false start. I never detected it.
No, it's the sensor that
Yeah.
detected.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think at some point, if it is, you have to cut it off at some point,
Mm.
but the 0.9 and upwards of that at 9, you hit the gun again, you fire the gun again, you stop the race, and you just let them know, listen, that's for the whole field. The next one, that person is out. They've got to have a change with that.
But I think
It's
the fast.
signaling.
There's an argument that there are some athletes, I guess their hearing and their reaction, deal can beat that 0.1.
Of course, of course. And that is why you have to be careful with this, because you are making a lot of assumptions that this athlete is actually picking the start.
And the eye test in a lot of them, you're not seeing it in the eye test, no matter how many times I run that back. Obviously, some of these athletes reacting quicker than others are able to.
Yes, yes. And it's just because, John, they are putting limitations on what the human can do, especially in response, reaction time.
Mhm.
And I think they have gone, I understand why they did it. And for television and the race going on too long, too many false starts. But there's nothing wrong in just charging the field when it is of that nature. Not when you
Yeah.
can see your eye, but when it's a sensor driven decision, then you just say, listen, you better make sure that your foot stay on those blocks all the way through. And we're giving the whole field one warning and let it go. I've seen
Mm.
one start back 3, 4 times.
But by the same token, if you're going to disqualify the athlete for false starting, you might as well run the race on the first fat gun, and if the athlete wins the race, he disqualified, just like running out of your lane and all the other things that take place when a race when the event is in full flight.
Yeah,
Okay?
but would you then rerun the race?
No. Whoever false start, if they won the race, they're disqualified, period. They cannot win. Just like if you do something, you go from from a gold to a silver, or you lose the gold completely, and another
Yeah,
team
but
moves up
but
and
Trevor, you run the race and you win the race, and then they tell you disqualify. You know how they disqualify that would be devastating.
takes place in the
To
Olympics every
stop
time.
everybody.
It takes place in the Olympics regularly. When somebody get disqualified who got the gold medal, and somebody else move up, and sometimes it's just because of substance abuse.
Yeah, but that is different than the false start.
I, I
Um,
I disagree with the idea of disqualifying a person where they don't get a chance to run the race. Period. Just because the false start. I would say that they should maybe penalize them by moving them, 3 feet back. Okay, but not being able to run the race any at all because of a false start. That really, eventually might end up with only one person running the race.
yeah, but Trevor, you move him 3 feet back and he decide, well, I got to catch them before they get and he
Yeah.
false start again. You know, um, but it's just that, you just have to observe and the rules. The rules are the rules, and work with
Yeah.
that.
John, just another point with that. Obviously, I'm more focused on the sensor
Yeah.
detecting it. But the
Hmm.
false start now, what has become prevalent at champs is because of the rule that you cannot miss a race or an event and then turn around and go and compete in another event. So let's
Hmm.
say 100 meters, you decide you're not going to run, you're not going to show. You cannot then turn around the next morning and show up for the 200-meter heats. You're
Aha.
disqualified
Hmm.
the rest of the championships. So one of the things with coaches and athletes, they now go out and deliberately false start
Aha.
Start. Yeah.
so as not
Aha.
to get disqualified from participating in the next event.
Right.
So that is something else we have to think about, outside of the sensor driven false start.
So they're getting paid to throw the game.
You, 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 so you might be in two events, Trevor, and the time frame between both of them, it's, it's too close.
Yeah.
You don't want to waste, expend all that energy in event number one. So you're saving yourself for event number two. And what you do, you go and you pick the start in event number one so that you don't get penalized and get disqualified from event number two.
But don't you block somebody in the pipeline from being in that space when you're overbooked?
And that is a good point. So you can strategically put someone there just to block another, hopefully, block someone else. And
Uh-huh.
I'm not even suggesting that they do it, but it opens the door for that.
Yeah, but you understand, deal. If you don't want the athlete to run, why put him in the race? Just put him in the race that you want him to participate in.
Yeah.
And it's not a question that you put him in a race and say, oh, you want him to practice his start, because he's
No,
not going to run the race.
yeah, I think especially now with champs going by the quota system per event, and
Mm,
once you put in and you name your reserves if they do qualify. So like for the 100 meters, it's the top 64. So if after the top 64 athletes that are registered for the event, so if you are number 86 and you'd fall among the top 64 for those who register for the event, and you decide, okay, you're gonna enter your athlete in the event, okay, fine. But outside of that, you shouldn't really be entering an athlete in an event where you doubt whether or not he's going to participate. And that's the reason why they said the athlete has to show up for the event. And
yeah.
what they counteract that is let the athlete fall start out of the event. It is now a tactical move.
Mm. Was there one event that really grabbed your attention?
Oh, there were several events. There were absolute several events. Douglas, of course, was really magnificent in our 22:36. It's really magnificent effort. And you have so many steering contests. The girls' class won 400 and 400 hurdles, with Fletcher and Kelly and Carr, where they swap places in both. You can go on and on. The boys 400 meters, the boys 200. Lumley, the Walmers boys getting the 1-2 Sweet 16.
Vanilla.
Oh yes.
Yes,
And
you
and
know,
looking at us, looking across at each other to make sure that he made it.
yes, there was a lot of outstanding performances,
Yes.
a lot. And Javelin Bernard, that's the jumper.
Mm-hmm.
She won 3 gold medals, and I know people spoke about her. I don't know how much they spoke about her, but she deserves a lot of credit for what she did.
Yeah.
A lot of credit. She's from Heidel. She's from Heidel. She won the class to long jump, triple jump, and it had to be high jump. Long, triple, and high. She won all three of them.
There was, what's her name? Did it, what's her name again? She won 2 golds and a bronze. She won 3 medals, 2 golds and a bronze. Oh boy, I forgot her name now, dear. Um, but I thought she was outstanding too. But you mentioned it before. the youngster from Kingston College, Julius Itubo, who was from Kenya, who came so close to going sub 4 minutes in the 1500 meters.
Yes.
And then came back in the 800 and broke the meet record.
Yes. Oh, John, before we move on, you're talking Akelia Brown.
Yes.
That's my relative.
Oh yeah.
By name.
So
That was
Trevor,
by name.
Trevor, you see why I mentioned it now?
Yes. She won the long jump, high jump, and then came in. The triple jump is an open event, and that's where she won Miss Bernard. So
the bronze, yeah.
And she ended up getting the bronze.
Yeah.
My biggest problem was with the high jump, however. I don't know if you have the high jump on your schedule.
But high jump.
Yes,
what do you mean, Trevor?
The boys high jump, over the bar.
Yeah. It's what?
You have it on your schedule, right?
The boys high jump?
Yes.
What you referring to with that?
Well, those boys were so skinny, and no fat person were jumping. What's going on with that?
Well, it's a takeoff, Trevor.
You got to go up there, yes.
What they call it now? The gravitational pull.
Yeah. Yes.
Our high jumping is coming along.
Yes, it has.
As I mentioned before, it's really the javelin and pole vault that we have not really made our mark in just yet, but I think eventually we will.
Okay.
Yeah. And just a little note on the high jump. Lamar Distin, our female high jump champion.
Yeah. Her brother
won the class 1 high jump.
Right.
Representing Stets.
Yes,
so
yes.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the pole vault, John. At high school that I also know about, they invested in pole vaults, the pole vault pole. But the whole shebang is so expensive.
Uh-huh.
And you're talking double digits, upwards of maybe $12,000, $12,000 to $15,000. And then the poles, they break and they're very expensive. Mm-hmm. So you have to have reserve poles in your inventory. Mm-hmm. And what I would suggest is that up at GC Foster, use it as a pole vault and javelin center.
Yes.
So that at least once a week, children could be brought up there to get specialized training. Mm-hmm. It is not about the school that they are representing. It's about building the program for the nation. So there's no reason why I wouldn't say, you're traveling to Kingston anyway to participate in a meet. There's no javelin or pole vault being facilitated at the meet. So let's go over to GC Foster or wherever and get in some practice.
Yes.
We know that the throws guru, Julian Robinson, it didn't matter where you come from, as long as you're Jamaican or wherever, as long as you're interested in ISA, you're part of ISA setup, he's going to show you, he's going to train you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great idea. Not only that, you could always set up the bar by a swimming pool, and when the ball over, they drop into a pool if you can't afford the padding and all the things that goes along with that.
Yes. Now, John, it's way back when, but I remember when I school in the West, Cornwall, between 1956 and 1973, they produced no less than 8 pole vault champions at boys champs. And what do you think they were training and falling into? A sandpit.
All right.
Yeah, but in high school, it's a sandpit we falling.
Yes.
You didn't need a bag or anything like that. You just need to know how to fall. And with George Thomas, the great George Thomas, who held champs record for almost 15, 20 years. He cleared 3 meters, and it's not until recently, if he was still jumping, of course, we're using our imagination, he would still be a finalist at champs today, 60 years later.
Yes.
That's how well he was jumping. Can you imagine with modern facilities what the great George Thomas would have been able to accomplish?
And I remember, what's his name now? Victor Ladorum, I think was his name. From was it Monroe?
And that's who the boys champion athlete is named after, the Victor Ladorum trophy. He gets that trophy. Yeah.
A disappointment, though, was to see Excelsior Riquelme Reed pulling up in the 200. Because if memory serves, I think the 200 was his better race.
Well, he had like a 20.3, 20.4 wind aided time, but he would have gone into that race as the favorite. He's an excellent sprinter, and I have to give kudos to the Excelsior staff, because Nugent, the young man who he made the finals, I think he came about 5th, but he ran a sterling ankle leg to win that 4x1 for Excelsior in Class 1. And Riquelme Reed is a special athlete. Hopefully he will be, I don't know if he will recover in time for Carifta Games.
Which is this weekend?
Yeah, I doubt it, because he won Carifta trials, beating Sanjay Seymour when Seymour was red hot. I think he ran 10.16 and Seymour ran 10.20, but he beat him. And at champs, he seemed even, even more decisive victory on his part. Yes.
Question deal, and I'm not sure what the answer is. I don't remember. Why isn't there Class 4 boys? What's the reasoning?
I don't know the official reasoning. We do know that the girls, they give the boys, maybe it has to do with maturity. I have no idea. There are some curious things that go on at champs, but the boys seem to be a year behind. They are a year behind, and they get that extra year in Class 1, because the boy, all things being equal, he will be eligible to compete for 3 years in Class 1, whereas a girl is limited to 2 years because they have Class 4, whereas the boys don't have the Class 4.
But I think a Class 4 boy can run one race at Class 3.
Yes, because Class 4 in some cases might be, and I give you an example of that. The young man that won the Class 2 110 hurdles, that's his 3rd year technically in Class 3, because he started school so young that his first year was spent in Class 4, legitimate Class 4. The 2nd year again is Class 4, but technically his first year Class 3. And then this year is his last year in Class 3. And he won the hurdles and made the 100-meter finals. That's a young man from William Nib named Javelin.
In relation to Les?
Oh, not that I know of. I know some of his relatives, but I don't know about Leslie. No.
Yeah. I don't know. In terms of your male and female athletes at the meet deal.
And are we going to restrict it to just the Jamaican side, or are we going to...
Just a male and female athlete of the meet?
I think for accomplishment and what it really, really means, it's going to be hard to look past Shania Douglas. It's really hard. You're talking about a world-class athlete now performing at a world-class level, not just an under 20 level, but at a world-class level. And just for that, I can't look past her. But behind her and beyond that, Bernard, Xavier Bernard, you can't go past her 3 gold medals. For accomplishment, achievement, it's difficult to go past her. But Douglas has to have that inside lane for the sheer electricity that she brought to the track and just, did something out of this world. I have to give her that nod as the female athlete of the meet.
I have a little different there, though, Dale.
Yes.
I would select Brittany Barron from Edwin Allen.
Okay.
The heptathlon winner.
Okay.
And it's because I heard the story behind her.
Mm.
She from what I understand, she was prepared for the 100 hurdles. And they learned when they're 2 days before they were to I guess file the team. They found out that the young lady who was preparing for the heptathlon was I guess ineligible.
Mm.
Oh.
And the coach asked Brittany if she would switch and do the heptathlon.
Yes.
And she had a week to prepare for the heptathlon. And she was in 4th position going into the final event, 800.
Mm-hmm.
And her 800 time vaulted her from 4th to 1st.
Yes.
I just think just the fact that, switching an event like that and winning the gold medal says something about the young lady.
And John, I will not argue about that because she even set a meet record in doing it.
Yeah.
She set a champion record, and so absolute kudos to her because saying anything less would be a disservice to her fortitude and the fact that she just said, yes, I will do it. And she proved that, and it's part of that spirit at Edwin Allen, where Mr. Dyke is one of those coaches that people will seem to do anything for him. I'm going to do it for my coach type of stuff. But yes, kudos to the young lady. Absolutely.
I agree with you, John, that she should come in second after Shania Douglas.
Oh.
Yeah. What about the male side there?
Oh, well, oh boy. For performance alone, well, first I have to speak about Peter because I think it's a phenomenal record that he broke and really tremendous effort on his part, brilliant sprinting. And then you have the Woolmer's pair headed by Lumley, another outstanding sprinter. And he ended up with 3 gold medals because they also won the relay.
4x1.
4x1, and and you have Michael Andre Edwards from JC was supreme in the long and triple jump, and reluctantly I will mention oh my lord, I will mention the KC Itubo and Achua from St. Diego, who both got double winners, double championship record winners, So it's a tough ask right there. It's a tough ask, very tough. But if I had to, it's tough. If I had to stick my neck out, what gave me the greatest pleasure was just seeing Peter. Peter, what an athlete! What an athlete!
15 years old.
Yes, yes.
45.76.
Absolutely phenomenal.
You did?
Phenomenal. Yes, I'm faster than the class one boys.
I remember when Dwight Anderson, that was I think 1961, that last year at Sabina, when he won the what was it, 440 yards at the time? In
Yes.
47.5 and was the first schoolboy to go sub 50 in the 440. And everybody jumping and say, oh, Dwight 47.5. But deal, that was class one, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is class, we're talking now, class two, class
And
three. No, class two.
yes, and
Yeah,
Frankie,
15-year-old, 45.76.
45.76.
to break any of Chris Taylor's records, class two records, it takes some doing, and we have two big records there, man, that is going to be tough for anyone to beat. And I didn't think anybody was gonna beat what uh Taylor's record anytime soon. I honestly didn't think so, you know. But the other record there is the class two girls. The class two girls. That is Chris and Gordon. She has a
Yeah.
record that has lasted what, over 13 years now.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's about 13 years.
Mm.
It has been around for. So it will be interesting to see what happens there. I would think. Yeah. I think she has a 50, what is it? Chris and Gordon was like a 52-2. I think that's it. No, it's less than that. 51 something. 51. Because McLean, the Fogo Road young lady, I also think is one to watch. You
Mm.
know, definitely Shamika McLean, definitely one to watch.
The, and I also thought the throw by someone from JC, that 67.55 in the discus,
Yes,
a big throw.
yes, yes. The two field event throws were really, you know, great throws, and we
And
have.
the competition in class one deal was pretty good discus.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah,
Mm.
and it lends to the good coaching that we have on the island. You know,
Yeah.
yes, we have a good cadre of coaches there. Very good. And not to forget, like even the throwers from Monroe, because Monroe in the throws, you know, teams like Monroe and Jamaica College, they do extremely well or did extremely well in the throws this year.
And Calabar used to do well in the throws too, but I don't know what happened to them this year.
Well, they didn't do too badly, John. They scored a total of 38 points in the throws across all classes,
Mm.
right behind Monroe and Jamaica College, who both had 43 points. So,
Oh,
yes, they're off the top of the podium, but they're only 5 points away from them.
mm.
Yeah, just 5 points away from them.
Well, Dale, I don't know if there's any other aspect of the champs you want to bring up or talk about.
Um, that I think you have covered everything more or less. We had some really, really standout performances. I must, I don't know why I like her, but she's one of my favorite athletes. Natrice East
Oh,
from
Lord. I was about to mention her name. That she
yes,
won a double too, you know?
yes, I love her. And another young lady that I love her attitude and stick to it ness is the girl what Kevin Kev,
Kevin Gay.
Fowler. Yes,
Yeah,
Kevin D. Fowler from Edwin
yeah,
Allen.
yeah.
She's another wonderful athlete. You see them on the relay legs, you see them on everything. Shoshana Johnson from Edwin Allen. These young ladies,
In the steeplechase.
yes, the steeplechase and what do they run? The 3,000? The
Yeah,
3,000 meters. She
yeah.
won both of them, you know. Yeah, and so as not to let the throwers feel out of place. And I would have to mention coming out of Clarendon College, Jamaica Young, who
Mm.
won the discus and the shot put in class too. She's another one, because we have to give them love. We have to show them some love also.
Yeah. Mm.
Well, we know we always speak about the fact that even when they go to the Olympics, you send 40, and when they come back home, only silver, gold, silver, and bronze seem to get any recognition. You
Yes.
know, and yes, so I totally agree with with your with that observation. But I'm surprised that G. Foster was not higher in the standings. Granted that they have such conditions and under which they are able to train, among other things.
Who is that, Trevor?
G. Foster.
No, they're not in high school, Trevor.
Oh, you're right about that. Because I'm just weird but I thought they were mentioned one or two times during the champs.
Maybe
The coaches.
Or the
coach.
coaches.
Mm.
Yes. And John, how can we forget Tiana Marshall?
Yeah. And that other young lady, what she was, class three, Tashana Godfrey in the 80-meter hurdles.
Yes.
Her meet record.
Yes.
Hmm.
So the question here now, if you notice, Natrice is from Wolmer's and Tiana Marshall. I
Yeah,
love Tiana Marshall and another where we keep churning out these hurdlers, these young ladies, remember Kerika Hill and all of them, coming up.
yeah.
We have a great stable of young hurdlers. Brittany Anderson, who didn't compete at all last year, and of course the veteran Daniel Williams, Megan Tapper, and all of them coming through. We have some serious hurdlers in Jamaica.
Yeah. Both, and on the men's side also.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But I think
Another
again,
athlete we didn't mention was this young lady, what's her name now, from Homewood, Jovi Rose, who middle distance.
yes, I think she did well because she did win an event, but she was somewhat ordinary in the other events that she took part in.
Mm.
But I love, the rose gold, and the
Yeah.
golden rose. I love her name. I love the Jovi. There's something about Jovi Rose that just, you know,
Yeah, she won the 1500.
yeah,
Mm.
yes.
One thing I would like to touch a little bit on that you mentioned earlier was the adjustment period between transfers from one school to another,
Yeah.
having to sit out a
If you're not
year.
if you're not a sixth former, you have to sit out 1 year.
Yes, no. How does that compare especially with students who are coming from outside of the country, as we mentioned, coming in, and that now they also have to go through an adjustment period of sitting out a year?
Hmm. Well, prior to this, they didn't have that restriction,
Right, and
but
and
a
so
lot of, I guess, schools or whatever started, I guess, protesting it or talking about it, and so now they have to sit out a year.
yeah. So my question is, in regards to a lot of the of our athletes now who find themselves getting scholarships, going outside of the country to other places, whether it be universities or what, to start training, or what are the standards? Is there any limitations therefore on that at that level, where when you come in to a college, you as a first year man, you are have to sit out if you're coming from outside of the country
Mm-mm. Into the US?
into the US? Yes.
No, you don't have to sit out. You go, the coach happy to have you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
just to
but
fill a gap, you know?
yeah, one of the main differences, and I can only speak of for New Jersey to be specific, and I know that people may circumvent rules, etc. But as it is written, wherever it is that you are domiciled, whatever county or community, that is the high school you must attend. So, for example, when my children were in high school, they had to go to the high school where we, the parents, get billed for like their utility bills.
Yes,
You
yes.
couldn't go to the high school where your uncle lives over in that town or whatever, unless it is a parochial school or a private school. But for the public school system, you have to be born, you have to be resident of that community.
Okay.
So that's a huge difference from Jamaica now. That's a big difference from
What you
Jamaica.
mean? You're talking about over here, dear?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is why a Jamaican can come here and there's no transfer, no nothing. You just come and
Mm-hmm.
wherever it is that you live, you attend high school there, unless it's a private high school.
Mhm.
If it is not a private high school, then you have to go with the public, what the public
But,
rules and regulations are.
Okay.
but you can go to a public high school outside of your zone, you know. I forget.
Well,
I'd have to ask my wife what they call it, but I forget what they call it. But you can, because like my children went to high school out of our zone.
I don't. That's why I've started my statement with the state of New Jersey,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I know that
Oh, okay.
that is what is discouraged. I'm sure you have ways you can go around it, but by the book, by the law, is not something very easy to go around at
Right.
all. Because what you want is fair competition. And
Mhm.
that is why, John, if you watch pen relays, like the high school that Sidney McLaughlin attended, was not far from where I live. And when you go and watch them practice, the other three girls running with her was not worthy of anything. They couldn't make any of Jamaica high school teams,
Mm.
but they can put together an all-star high school team for them. Why you think Bullis is such a good have such a good team? It's because they're private.
Mm. Mm.
So if we look, our system is great and wonderful, and I'm not knocking it because that's what we do. But we also have to look at it where most of these teams, when you get a Homewood and a Edwin Allen, that's why it's very difficult for a regular USA team to beat them. Very difficult because the
You,
talent
Mm.
is so spread out across. Our talent is more, we're much smaller, and
Yeah.
the Homewood team, like a good Veertech 4x4 team back in the day, they would challenge a lot of collegiate teams.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what do you think can be done to?
But look at even the Excelsior Class 1 4x1 team. Um, well, Friday evening they were 39 change.
Hmm.
They can beat a lot of college teams here now. Even some international teams.
Yes, because it's a handful, is not many international teams, and we're not talking the top eight and stuff. Once you get into that second tier international teams,
Yeah,
our team, and don't forget that most of the collegiate teams are international teams.
true,
So
true.
those can beat our school girls and boys like the Edwin Allen girls 4x1. Very few people could beat them in the world that could beat them. Very few teams
Mm-hmm.
that you have to go out, not the top eight, but once you get to like number 10, number 11 in the world and stuff, they have a hard time beating Edwin Allen with the Clayton twins and those girls.
Mm-hmm. Serena Cole.
Yeah. No, it's not an easy thing, you know. So we have a lot going for
And
us.
there's another athlete that I'm watching her development, Dale, Serena Cole.
Yes. And here's the thing now, and you had mentioned Alana Reid earlier about leaving Jamaica. We have excellent coaches in Jamaica who know what they're doing and they can prepare athletes. So whether you go to a Kishan Walcott at Elite, who conditioned Shelly Ann Fraser Price after she left MVP, or you go to Miss Osborne. Let's not forget Miss Osborne,
Mm-hmm.
Ika Osborne, and the work she did with Elaine in a very short period of time,
Yeah.
you know, and she has had her athlete here and there, and they're all coming. Both she and Walcott are coming from the um, MVP camp. They both were assistants at MVP under
Mm-hmm.
under the Francis brothers.
Yeah.
You know, so Jamaica is filled up with a lot of coaches. Look at the coach for, as I mentioned before, Shania Douglas. How can he, without all those facilities, have you ever watched and seen where these youngsters train?
On grass.
And pebbles,
Yeah.
you know, but they have no choice, so they do what they are doing, you know, and that's why, not to bring up cricket in it, I always shake my head when I hear people talk about cricket facilities. Go get a coconut bat and learn to bat with it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Coconut butter and orange ball.
You know, do make do with what you have. John, if my grandmother had to wait for whatever, I wouldn't be here. She made do with what she had.
Yeah.
And I think seriously, that is what in some aspects of our lives that we are lacking that determination to use what we have
Well,
and not try to get anything ready made.
do you
Yeah.
do you think the great migration that started from 75, well, from 62 with the Windrush, and then from 65 with the socialism rush,
Mm.
do you think that has a lot now to do with the changing that took place in our culture, where suddenly Western Union and money and what the other one named MoneyGram became the answer to all the problems that we had in Jamaica, versus settling down, like we used to do, and make do with what we have. That now everybody can look out and reach a hand across, and the problems get solved. So that even when bad girl Melissa came along and visited John's territory, everybody is waiting for diaspora and the rest of the world to take care. You know, not
Mm.
they're not thinking about what they can do. The government is not thinking about what it can do. It is talking about what the diaspora is gonna do, and what the rest of the world has contributed, and we do not hear a lot about what the government, in a sense, even brought to the table. Much less what has been spent that went down there since bad girl Melissa went on her way.
Mm.
Yeah. And Professor, just to back up that point, if you'll notice after a while, it gets silent.
Oh yes, that's my point.
and and nobody knows what happened. And you know that we have a thing going with one of the organizations that I admire a great deal is the Rossi's brother sister incorporated organization that they have, and they are determined to build a sports complex at Rossi's,
Mhm.
and
Mm.
they believe in the next 2 years it will be complete.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those funds are generated in the diaspora. But what they do, they put on fundraising events. So when you go there to spend $100, you're getting something in return for it. Whether it's a fry
Mm.
fish and a bammy or a pan of fry fish, you're getting something in exchange for what you're giving to them.
That's right. And
And
I can
they have been building. And
and,
if it wasn't for Melissa, they would be much closer to completion right now.
and I can guarantee one thing, and that I can without cut the fat and get down to the bone. That as soon as it finished, the politician take credit for it.
Yes, yes, yeah.
But here's some Phillips Highway blew up this deal.
Mhm.
We've been hearing that the GC Foster College track is to be redone. And for the longest while, I hear the material is on the wharf. And I don't know if they have cleared it now, but going back, I think into January, I hear that it was on the wharf and couldn't clear. And so that's why some of the meets that were scheduled for GC Foster were not held. And then some came back because they said they have to push back the resurfacing. Now, I do understand a GC Foster College that is producing some of our national, international coaches and student athletes, and they want to refurbish, redo the track, and the government don't see to it that they can clear these goods to get the track up and running.
No, that's a very good question, John. And the deeper question, though, is this. Just imagine how you feel about that. How do you think the people from the West, in the Western region, feel
Oh boy.
the fact that for the past 8 years, the track at Catherine Hall has been in disrepairs, and all you're getting is promises, promises, promises that it's going to be repaired.
And it become a co-pasture.
Yeah. Now, what makes it worse, John, is that in 1979, there was a relay carnival that was named the Comets Relays.
Mm-hmm.
And from the Comets Relays, those meets used to be held on the grounds of Cornwall College. And people used to travel from all over the island to come down to go down to Cornwall College and participate in the Comets Relays. Those relays were then sponsored by Milo. So it became the Comets Milo Relays, and then it was renamed Milo Western Relays, as we know it now today. Those relays were held at Cornwall College and then at Catherine Hall. And from 2008, when the last meet was held there, it has been held at at GC Foster. Now, how can you have a relay event named Western Relays when you're heading east to put on the event?
yes.
And to add insult to injury, between Cornwall College and St. Elizabeth Technical and Catherine Hall, they hosted the Western Championships. It's a regional championship, so crying out loud. And you host it. And for the last 2 years, it has been hosted by GC Foster. And this is our Western Regional Championship. And where does it end? Where does it end? Please fix the track down there. Get a newly laid track, whatever it is. The Pumas and the Adidases giving away all these gears to these schools. That is beautiful. That is wonderful. But I need for them, and I would insist on them. You want to get the contract for Jamaica athletes for our national team? You're gonna have to fix and give us a track down in Catherine Hall.
That's right.
That is our bargaining power.
And all the contracts that we sign, all the investment that comes in, we hear we hear about politicians getting rich beyond their wildest dreams. Sometimes they don't even know how much bank account they really have. But by the same token, you do not hear that when these contracts are being signed, investors are coming in and putting up these multi-billion-dollar hotels or multi-million rooms hotel. You do not hear that for every guest who books into the hotel, there's gonna be a 1% tax to go towards the community that you have now implanted yourself in. That you don't have a head tax for the 3 million tourists who comes in. You charge them $2 Jamaican. That's about less than 2 cents. No, maybe less than 2 cents. Charge $2 Jamaican head tax for the 3 million tourists who comes to the island. Okay? To go towards, again, community development.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to wonder, since there's always a deal on the table, who is the deal for? Because we do not hear about how the community is going to benefit, apart from the fact that, we're going to create 50 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You hear about how many jobs they're going to create. You know, the guy out there who is pushing drugs saying the same thing, that he wants 2 runners and he's creating jobs. But you talk about the community, what impact it is going to have on the community, so that when you pack up and you leave, you have the benefits. Because when the guy who is doing the drugs pack up and you leave, he still leaves something there, you know. Sick people or people who are in different capacity. Okay? So everyone who you say is doing something in your community, if they're going to use your roads, it's not about the taxes, it's about the fact that you're obstructing the other people from using the road, and therefore you need to compensate them. Okay? They need to be compensated, and if we do not ask the questions, maybe there's a benefit set aside in the contract. But the bottom line is that if we don't hear about it, then they ask, who cashes the check? Okay?
Yeah. Well, going back with the Catherine Hall, I think it's Montego Bay United Football Club.
Yeah.
They have signed a MOU, and for Catherine Hall, and part of what they are promising is to rehabilitate the facility 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And when I hear people talk about sports tourism, I laugh personally, because if you are serious, you have to mention Catherine Hall first and foremost, because Jamaica tourism, North Coast, Montego Bay, Negril, if you don't see that as the potential hub, then you're not serious.
Okay.
And when people want to speak about sports tourism, stop being Kingston centric with it. Stop being Kingston centric with it. I remember right after COVID, and they were getting ready to hold the Carifta Games. Mike Sands, the president of our regional track and field, he was disappointed when he learned that it was not going to be held at Catherine Hall, because he had fond memories of the facilities from 2012.
Mm.
We are looking to say, let's go to the stadium, let's go to the stadium. Can you imagine when MVP, Sprintech, GC, Foster, UTech, and all of them, racers, used to travel down from Kingston and stay at wonderful hotels and participate at the Milo Western Relays at Catherine Hall. It was a whole new experience for many of the athletes. They look forward to it. They didn't want to go fight through traffic and go into the stadium and whatnot, but we have to get away from the mentality that everything is resident and central to Kingston.
And not only that, Deal. I mean, you keep on using this stadium being the venue. You keep on using stadium. You go wear out the track. You should have another one or two other venues in which you can hold major meets
Yes,
and in which our high schoolers and club facilities can use them.
yes. I hear some of the coaches say, oh, it's better if we run at GC faster because the athletes will run faster times,
Hmm.
as opposed to running on the grass. All those
Yeah.
world class athletes that we produced running on grass, how did it hurt them? From the Winthrop Grahams to all of those girls from Edwin Allen and Manchester, Lorraine Fenton Graham, Natalia Gula, school girls, the Chrisann Gordons and the Sharika Jacksons, and all of these wonderful sprinters coming up. What did they learn to run on? Grass. All of a sudden, you
Mhm.
only want to run on synthetic track.
It is strange, because I remember all those days we were running on grass at Titchfield, and I never see a man with a lawnmower.
True.
You
Because
know,
True.
grass can't grow under your feet when you're running on it.
Yeah.
there you go. You know, Usain Bolt, where was he sprinting? Where did he learn to sprint before he moved on to bigger and greater things?
Mm,
Grass is natural. That's what you're made to run on.
yes. All those soccer
You know,
fields were playing on, their grass fields.
yeah.
Mm.
Hmm. You know, but
Anyway, gentlemen,
but you hold on, but Brother Dale, every time you mention Milo, me just remember Ovaltine to you.
uh,
Like,
Well,
if you never mention Milo, Ovaltine all that Ovaltine would that pop into my head.
Grandma
That's
sweet like sweet 16 and mom uses Ovaltine.
you know,
Ovaltine,
I'm just
everybody loves Ovaltine.
yes. I'm just saying that there's so much of our culture that we seem to slip away. Okay, and it is
mhm,
strange that it is in conversations like this that something resurfaced in your mind, and you
Hmm.
remember, oh my goodness, yes, a glass of Ovaltine with cow's milk and Ovaltine, when
Hmm.
the Jamaican delight, and our children over here.
And it was cow's milk from the cow, not from a carton box.
uh, and John, just to keep pushing a little bit with the Western region, in Jamaica's golden period in football coincided when the West was doing extremely well and people paid attention to the footballers from the West.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Not that they didn't have good footballers to begin with all through the years, but it's when that great concentration where you could play for a club, whether it's Seba, Reno, Wadada, Violet Kickers, whatever, and make the Jamaica team. Where
Hmm.
years gone by, you couldn't do it. You would have to go to Kingston to make sure that you can get a pick on a Jamaica team. And that culminated in 1998. That's where the Tapper Whitmores and all of these guys, Durant Brown and Hector Wright and all of these guys came from. The
Hmm.
Jamaica captain Warren Barrett, all of these guys. And it's not by coincidence. But once we started shifting the focus and bringing in other persons, that's where the recipe got messed up.
Hmm.
And we're paying a price for it until today.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yes, we're paying a price for it. You look at Shania Douglas, Mushet. This is the school she's coming from, Mushet,
Hmm.
which is just outside of Wakefield, Trelawney. And you
To
produce
Holland, to Holland High.
to Holland High, which When you say Holland, what do you think about? The Netherlands.
Hmm.
And believe it or not, John, Holland is literally right across up the road from William Knibb, a stone's
Mhm.
throw from
Mhm.
William Knibb.
Mhm.
Those are the William Knibb. Look at the athletes that they are producing.
Yes.
Somebody asked me where Fogger Road is. Where Fogger Road is there?
Fogo Road, believe it or not, is in Denby, Clarendon.
Okay.
That is a hotbed right there, you know.
Yeah.
Denby High School itself, not to be confused, and Fogo.
Mhm.
So when you look at the talent being spread out, if one of those schools should get all the talent, there would be a serious track and field program. But I think that the more spread out it is, the individual athletes get to learn responsibility and knowing that your team is depending on you.
Yes. Yes.
And it provides avenues for the young coaches coming out of GC Foster College because
Ab-
all of them can't coach in Kingston. So
Absolutely.
you have to find a niche somewhere.
Yes. I'm going to tell you something, John. The youngster that win the class three hurdles, the 100-meter hurdles, he represented William Knibb. He's a third year class three athlete, you know, by
Mm,
definition. Okay? He started out as a 200, 400 runner. 200, 400.
mhm,
And by the time he's 14 years old, they convert him to a 100 hurdler and a flat 100 sprinter.
mm,
Now, where did this coach get that idea in his head that he could do this?
mm.
You understand? You look at
Yeah.
Shania Douglas, 400, 200, 400, 200. Suddenly, she tried the 100. She couldn't mess with Doctor last year. Sabrina Doctor from out of Lakovia. Okay?
Mm,
Sabrina Doctor from Lakovia. Couldn't mess with her. But now, at 100 meters, now she's still a schoolgirl, and I don't think Doctor can touch her in the 100. Forget about the 200. But where's our coach from? Where's he learning his techniques?
mm.
Brother Dale, probably was watching the horse race that came on a spark. With the one that break out and was leading, get run down in the 200 in the back end.
And you know something, John and Professor, I saw Shania Douglas at which meet was it? Um Gibson Relays.
Mm-hmm.
And she was entered in the 400 meters.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I think, what caused the problem that you referred to before, John. But she ran
Mm,
the 400 and she ran okay. She ran decently. But earlier in the season, she had run a 52.0 something seconds, almost a 52 flat. And in this race, she ran 53.5 or something like that. What seemed to be a nondescript time.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to myself, it can't be overtraining. It must be where she is at this point in her training, why she ran quote unquote so slowly.
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
What are we going to get from this young lady at champs? Now remember, she ran 22.5 at Carifta trials.
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
So I'm saying if she run that at Carifta trials weeks before champs, what is she going to do when she gets to champs? And these are the things that give some of us satisfaction when we can see the trajectory and see
Yes.
where it's heading for. And this is not a robot. This is a human being with emotions and everything. And to see her come through and run like this is unbelievable, man. Is
Mhm.
unbelievable. And I just
Mhm.
push her, try to push her too far, too fast.
And
I just,
she's probably in the right place there at Holland High. You know,
of course,
where she
Mushet was perfect for her,
where she
and,
can
and
develop
Holland is even more perfect.
where she can develop it slowly, you know. There's no
Yes.
rush. Mm.
Yeah, and she would have one more year. I'm not sure about the eligibility, but I don't expect her to return to school next year. But she would have had one more year. But next year is her 20th year
Yeah.
on planet Earth.
Yeah, I
So it
think
goes,
but she's not eligible for champs.
she I don't know if she would be, but I know she's not eligible for Carifta Games next year for sure.
Mm.
She's not
Mm.
eligible for it, you know, because she's 20 during the Carifta Games.
Right.
Yeah, so you have to kind of watch that with her. But in other words, she's not as young. She's not a young class one. She's in the older set of class one because of the time of year that she was born.
Yeah, but after this year, she's not looking at champs anymore, dear. I don't think.
No, no.
Champs
The
is
question
history.
is, where will she go, and what will she do? Because
Yeah.
I believe that the educational part of it, and I don't want anybody to tell me that she have the rest of her life, because most of them seem to forget that they have the rest of their lives to
Mm-hmm.
go and finish their education.
Yeah.
Normally, sounds good coming out, but normally, the highest percentage, they don't do that.
Right.
They simply don't go back to school.
Right.
So I would like for her to have the best of both worlds.
Mm. All righty. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here on John Sports Corner this Wednesday afternoon. And of course, as usual, I wish you all the best in whatever you do and success, of course, and we will be talking again at some point soon.
Yes, and we just have to look at what will happen at Carifta Games, who will, they have named the team as yet, as far as I know. So it will be
Mm.
interesting to see who they put on that team, you
Yeah,
know.
but they should be getting ready to head for Grenada now.
Yes, I don't know. I haven't seen the list as yet. So they may have it out there and I just have not seen it.
I have not seen it either.
Yeah.
Mm. All
Yeah.
righty. I know we have another session coming up with the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yes, sir. Cricket Hall of Fame. Yes.
Yeah, that's my wife just texted me. Apparently, she's having some difficulty getting onto one of her programs.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I have to go and troubleshoot.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, well, once again, let me just thank you, Dale, for joining us on a Winner's Circle. Not Winner's Circle, on John Sports Call this Wednesday afternoon. I don't know where my head is, but certainly, again, family, enjoy the rest of the week as I close with Vaya con Dios.